evening from the State of Kuwait. Welcome to the 7 o'clock news for Thursday, the 5th of February 2015. I am Dalia Badran with the headlines for tonight. The First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister holds talks with the Spanish speaker discussing bilateral relations between the two countries. King Abdullah vows a relentless war against the so-called Islamic State following the group's killing of a Jordanian pilot. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi orders an end to a long-standing nighttime curfew in Baghdad. German and French leaders are heading to Kiev with a new peace initiative amid escalating fighting in the east of Ukraine. Hello and welcome. His Highness Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of condolences to His Excellency the President of Bulgaria on the passing away of former President Zleo Zelev. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent a cable of condolences to His Excellency the President of Bulgaria on the passing away of former President. His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable. The First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister Sheikh Sabah Al-Khalid Al-Hamad Al-Sabah held talks today with the Speaker of the Spanish Congress of Deputies, Jesus José Posada Monroe, on means of bolstering bilateral relations. The meeting was attended by the Managing Director of Kuwait Investment Authority, Badr Mohammed Al Saad, Director of the First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister's Office, Ambassador Sheikh Dr. Ahmad Nasser Al Muhammad Al Sabah, Kuwait's Ambassador to Spain, Dr. Sulaiman Abdullah Al Harbi, and the Deputy Director of Europe Department, Advisor Dr. Rashid Hamad Al Adwani, along with a host of officials at the Foreign Ministry. The Deputy Premier and Minister of Defense, Sheikh Khalid Al-Jarrah Al-Sabah, met this morning at his office with the British Minister of the Middle East and North Africa, Tobias Alwood, accompanied by the Deputy Ambassador of the United Kingdom to Kuwait, Her Excellency Jackie Perkins, on the occasion of his visit to the country. Both sides discussed issues of common concern, especially within the military domain, and praised the depth of mutual ties and keenness of both countries on boosting and developing them. The meeting was attended by Chief of the Army's General Staff, Lieutenant General Mohammad Khalid Al-Khidr, the Defense Undersecretary Jassar Abdurazak Al-Jassar, Deputy Chief of the Army's General Staff for Recruitment, for Reinforcement and Supplies Authority, General Lafi Rashid Al-Azmi, and Commander of the Air Force, Brigadier Pilot Abdullah Al-Fodari. The Deputy Minister of the Amiri Diwan Affairs, Sheikh Ali Al-Jarrah Al-Sabah, paid a visit to Germany's embassy in Kuwait this morning to convey condolences of His Highness the Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah, His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, the government and people of Kuwait on the passing away of former German President Richard van Weizsäcker. Supported and hosted by Kuwait National Petroleum Company, the KNPC, the Maintenance Kuwait Summit 2015 took place at the Hilton Resort. The summit addressed several issues such as how to reduce equipment downtime and integrate new and old systems to better improve maintenance strategies. Local, regional and international oil and gas maintenance experts joined the conference to demonstrate the best practice planning and maintenance executions. Here is more on the event in this report by Salim Al-Kandari.
Supported and hosted by Kuwait National Petroleum Company, KNPC, the Maintenance Kuwait Summit 2015 took place at the Hilton Resort. The summit addressed several issues such as how to reduce equipment downtime and integrate new and old systems to better improve maintenance strategies.
The case study is to how to eliminate the leakages while operating. It has an impact in how it has an impact to reduce the maintenance cost, how to sustain operations, how to avoid shutdowns and unplanned shutdowns. We have presented this case, and it has an impact on KMBC profitability last year's. We have saved yearly about $1 million by implementing these recommendations.
Today I present a presentation about challenges and the strategic plan which we are doing to avoid the unplanned shutdown. And one of the major example which we presented, it is related to on-stream repair of heater. It was a new ideas implemented in Mina Abdullah refinery, that we suffer from hot spot on the heater, and at that time it was impossible to be isolated for many reasons. So what we done, we think out of the box in a way that to repair the subject heater without shutdown.
Well, the conference is very important in my view, because it gives an overview on the maintenance around the stations and for different type of facilities. From my stand and from what I presented is about tank inspection and tank maintenance, because this is the biggest problem we are facing in the aging facilities. So the tank inspection, there are different type of tank inspection. There is a general observation in the tank inspection. There is an external inspection can be done without shutting down the tank. And there is internal tank inspection, which requires lots of effort, lots of operations involvement, lots of carefulness from the HSE point of view, and to enter the tank and to inspect it thoroughly, and then decide what needs to be repaired and what not.
The event aimed to highlight Kuwait's global leadership role in oil and gas industry, further inform and update the Arab countries about the industry's latest innovative technologies and practices, and provide an opportunity for local, regional and international vendors to showcase their products. Oil and gas companies face furthermore challenges beside the drop of the oil prices. They have to maintain cost effectively with minimum loss. From the Hilton Hotel, this is Salm Kindiri reporting for the English News.
Thank you, Salm. Jordan's King Abdullah vowed to take tough action against the so-called Islamic State following the group's gruesome killing of a Jordanian pilot captured after his plane went down during a mission targeting the militants in Syria. King Abdullah stressed that Jordan would be relentless in the war against the IS. Jordan said the pilot was apparently killed a month ago. He was captured in Syria after his plane went down while flying as part of the US-led coalition conducting airstrikes against the Islamic State targets. Jordanian fighter jets flew over the hometown of pilot Mu'adh al-Kasasba today after completing a mission as Jordan's king was visiting the pilot's family in the town. 3 people were killed and at least 35 wounded in rocket attacks on Damascus today, in what appeared to be the second heavy bombardment by militants in less than 2 weeks. Local media reported that the militants based in the eastern Ghouta region on the outskirts of the city were behind the attack on several residential areas. Reports said 3 missiles hit areas around the main mosque located in the capital's old city. Insurgents and the Syrian military are battling for control of eastern areas close to the capital, and the Air Force has carried out regular bombardments there, including the districts of Ghouta and Jubar. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi today ordered a nighttime curfew in place in Baghdad for years to be lifted beginning Saturday. The announcement came after Abadi was briefed by security services. The nighttime curfew has been in place since 2004. The Prime Minister, who came to power in September 2014, has also ordered the reopening of several major streets in the city. While Baghdad is still hit by regular suicide bombings, the threat to the capital from the so-called Islamic State militants is viewed to have subsided. The decision came as Iraq's army is still battling IS militants who have seized large areas of territories outside of Baghdad. Negotiators said today that most Yemeni factions agreed to set up an interim presidential council to manage the country for up to 1 year in a major step to ease a power struggle which forced the president to step down 2 weeks ago. The Houthi movement had set a Wednesday deadline for political factions to agree a way out of the crisis that led to the resignation of President Abdurrabbu Mansour Hadi. Otherwise, the group said it would impose its own solution. Delegates said 9 parties and groups agreed during negotiations in Sana'a on a 5-member presidential council that will be headed by Ali Nasser Mohammed, a former president of South Yemen before the 1990 merger with North Yemen. A source close to Mohammed confirmed consultations were underway with the former president, but said they have yet to be finalized. French President François Hollande today said he is heading to Ukraine with German Chancellor Angela Merkel to present a new peace initiative. Hollande said that they will put forward the new plan before meeting Russian President Vladimir Putin in Moscow on Friday. A spokesman for the Kremlin confirmed that President Putin would meet with the 2 European leaders on Friday to discuss the fastest possible end to the crisis. Meanwhile, U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry also landed in Kyiv for talks today. Kerry is bringing $16.4 million in new U.S. humanitarian aid. But Ukrainian officials said they need lethal weaponry to defend themselves and turn back renewed rebel pushes in the east. Officials with Kerry said he would discuss those needs with the Ukrainian officials. The European Central Bank, the ECB, today toughened its stance with Greece by restricting financing to the country's banks, sending shares falling. In a statement, the central bank said it would no longer accept Greek government bonds as collateral for lending money to commercial banks. The move makes access to cash more expensive for Greece banks. In Athens, the stock market fell more than 6%, while bank stocks tumbled as much as 16%. After the ECB announcement, Greek lawmakers expressed their defiance over renegotiating the country's debt deal with the troika of lenders. The Greek lawmakers made the move after they were sworn in during the first session in parliament since the country's general elections. Rescue teams in Taiwan are continuing to search for the 12 people who remain unaccounted for after a plane crashed in a river. 31 people are now known to have died when the Trans-Asia plane came down in Taipei's Keelang River on Wednesday. 15 survivors were pulled from the wreckage, including a 2-year-old boy. Many of the passengers were Chinese tourists, and China will reportedly participate in a probe into the crash. The death toll was expected to rise as rescue teams searched the river for the missing passengers. At the end of this week's trading at Kuwait Stock Exchange, the main indices closed with mixed boards. KSX 15 recorded 1,085.81 points with a slight gain of 0.38 of a point. and the weighted index closed at 6,700 points, earning 0.27 points. However, the price index ended trading at nearly 6,572 points, losing 8.34 points. Kuwait National Library held a forum that promoted the culture of forgiveness, presented by visiting scholars from both Egypt and Lebanon. Several topics were discussed, among them human rights, living in harmony while accepting other people's beliefs, cultures, and differences. Here is more on the event in this report by Salim Al-Kandari.
Visiting scholars from both Egypt and Lebanon shared with the audience some of their practical thoughts and ideas about the culture of forgiveness held at Kuwait National Library. Professor Dr. Mohammed Mhenna from Egypt, who is a professor in the field of general international law and media, explained that Islam calls for peace and to accept others' differences in beliefs and cultures, and that everyone must respect each other's sacred beliefs.
All we can do that we must transfer the obstacle to a bridge of love, of fidelity, of civilization, because we are a people who have many things to give, and the Muslim and Arabic man must be in the real face, like a sun in this world.
Both scholars insisted that there should always be awareness and education on how to avoid racism and extremism, and no generation must learn to respect others' differences and traditions. This lecture tonight was about the culture of forgiveness, and that is based on the basic human principles, morals and love. From the National Library of Kuwait, this is Salim Kendiri reporting for the English News.
Thank you, Salim, for a very important subject nowadays. For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. Before we end, here is a quick reminder of today's headlines. The First Deputy Premier and Foreign Minister holds talks with the Spanish speaker discussing bilateral relations between the two countries. King Abdullah vows a relentless war against the so-called Islamic State following the group's killing of a Jordanian pilot. Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi orders an end to a long-standing nighttime curfew in Baghdad. German and French leaders are heading to Kiev with a new peace initiative amid escalating fighting in the east of Ukraine.